Hello, welcome to my laboratory.
Check, check, check.
Check, check, check. This is Roseanne, hi, and I'm at my studio where I'm compiling content for my YouTube channel. I hope you'll join that or whatever it is and give me a thumbs up and all that stuff you're supposed to do on the YouTube so I can speak for you and for myself and, you know, freedom of speech, which I care about deeply. Anyway, An0maly. So here we are, and I'm having a guest today. It's my friend An0maly, who I met on Twitter.
This is true.
Right? And
yeah, I saw you retweet, and I was like, oh, Roseanne, and then I don't remember which way it went, but that's
well,
where
we
met.
agreed on some things, and I thought you had an important narrative, and I liked sharing it. It hooks up with mine in a lot of ways. And plus, you're a millennial, right?
This is true.
A millennial male.
Oh, cisgendered.
Cisgendered male.
Yeah.
And that's very important to say.
Can't offend.
No, we can't offend anybody. Although, you know, they're sitting here with their nose pressed against the screen trying to get offended as hard as they can.
That's what journalists do. They'll find, 2-hour clip. They'll pick the one part out and talk about it for a year.
Yeah, or they'll go out of 200,000 tweets and find 2 or 3 that are ambiguous, and they think, oh, we could switch this around to mean she called all black people apes. And man, it's dangerous times. But I wanted to talk to you about #WalkAway, which I'm so excited for, and I think that my firing by ABC helped to ignite that a little bit. And I'm very happy that people are able to think past the box the media and the society has us in, 2 pens, our little veal pens.
Absolutely, yeah.
And get into some free thought and some real connecting dots of what's really going on in our country and the world.
Yeah, I think even with the firing and, I understand people get offended and words are powerful and it's important to not be mean and stuff, but actions matter more than words, and I think a lot of people, once the words start falling down and the promises and the marches, I think people are looking at the content and what's going on and what's happening and realizing that the nice words aren't always or almost never matching up with the nice actions. So,
right.
People are having that awakening of like, wow, it's been 7 years and nothing that I'm saying is actually translating and helping my people.
Isn't that right? Because they got the what did we used to call them? The guards at the gate.
Yeah, it's just a strange time. You say a bad joke per se that offends people, and that's the end of the world or the end of your show, and then someone could, occupy a country and, displace millions of people, but that's not racism. And then, you have people that are affecting communities and passing laws that have been responsible for the breakup of millions of families. That's not racist. So I come from the cloth of comedy. I love roast comedy. I love mean comedy, honestly. I think it's hilarious. And if it's not funny, then it's like, well, on to the next joke. I go to Comedy Store and places like that all the time. So I've never really understood the major, effect of like, oh, they said something. And I think a lot of the Democratic Party and even the left wing that I've always been a part of, they've kind of fallen victim to that game of identity politics. They care more about the presentation of I'm the not racist one and like you are the racist one, that they've kind of lost touch with what actually matters, which is people and actual justice, actual translation. Like they turn a blind eye to a whole country that's been displaced, and in some cases there's reports of organ harvesting and slavery. Like, wow, in the 21st century, but that's not a headline. I mean, I just don't understand it, but I guess some people are very dialed into certain news media and...
I think they get their talking points from the CIA at 4 a.m. That's the entire media. I mean, that's the truth. Yeah, it's like, okay, here's what you'll say today. When you watch the media, they all say the exact same thing because they've been given their marching plan, and they just repeat. They have no critical thinking themselves. They just repeat, okay, today's thing is Trump's a traitor. Okay, so we're all going to say it, and we're not going to give any proof or we don't need proof and we don't need sources. We just have our marching orders, and that's what we do. Trump's a racist, he's a traitor, and blah, 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 blah.
There's a lot of like left-leaning progressives who don't like Trump yet, or they don't feel Trump, but they're like, they feel so disowned by the Democrats. I have friends actually that I stay with in Hawaii, great people. They don't really like Trump. They really don't like Democrats, and they just argue with their friends, their Democrat friends on Facebook all day. But there's a big leftists that are like that. They're like, we were just in Seattle protesting this stuff,
Right.
but they really got a lot of their friends caught up. So it's like a constant, battle there.
Yeah, well, the thing I always say that's unspoken is, it was the Bernie people that after Hillary screwed Bernie out of the nomination, and a lot of us wanted Bernie, simply to see him debate Trump.
That would have
Because
been good.
it would have been good, and it would have woke a lot of people up, and we'll talk about capitalism and our money system and stuff like that, because Trump can go there. I interviewed him and Michael Moore on my old talk show together, and we did this in 1998, where we talked about the difference between socialism and capitalism, and if there could ever be a synthesis in this country. And I said, I feel that that's what's coming, or could come, and we'd use the best of both and have a system that actually works for the people. And Trump beat Michael Moore's ass in that debate. And I said, man, you ought to run for president. And, it's right there on video on, I don't know where it is now, but I heard Michael Moore got a hold of it. I could never get a hold of it.
He probably deleted it or something. He probably smashed the tape.
No, he's making a movie about it where he threatens me. You'll rue the day you ever met me. I have these tapes. But, I don't know how he's going to edit them, but Trump kicked his ass. Like Trump could kick any leftist ass because they don't like facts.
Socialism's just scary because I get it, and I like Bernie for different reasons.
Oh, I was going to say, This is what nobody ever says, is that it was the Bernie people that elected Trump, because they said, fuck you to Hillary after she stole and they all voted for Trump, and I'm one of them.
Absolutely, me too. Well, I actually voted third party, but it was a strategic vote. I knew out here it wouldn't matter because, it was a wrap. But, they try to, instead of embracing these people, there's tens of millions of leftist people that just don't agree with what they're doing. They make no effort to reach out to them. That's a lot of the walkaway movement. You're a Russian bot. You're deplorable. You're a loser in your parents' basement.
You're racist.
You're racist. You don't exist. Like no, that's
not.
That's
that's what they did when Obama cheated Hillary in 2008. That made all the feminists leave and start the Tea Party and all those other things, and eventually became Republicans. But they're middle-of-the-road Republicans. They're not the right-wing Republicans. So it's like really three parties. And now it's going to be four parties because they're going to embrace the Greens. But so they're going to have left and far left, and they're going to have right and far right. But most of us are right in the middle of both. We don't care about either extreme.
Absolutely.
We know no extreme will work in America. This is a melting pot.
There's a lot of good people, too, especially nowadays, things are changing. I remember 6-7 years ago, you had Obama, Hillary, and most Republicans saying no to gay marriage. Now no one cares. Even Republicans, they don't care. They love Milo. They love, every gay person that agrees with their ideals. They don't care about their sex anymore. So people are hybrids, and that's what I get when I walk on the streets, even in Los Angeles or, major liberal cities. The people are not represented by the media. The media, it's like this, this. But you talk to people and there's like, oh, I don't care what Trump says. I don't care what Kanye says. They don't bother me. I like them. I'm not. It's like the media really has to make fringes. It's like either you're, marching in Charlottesville or you're like the saint who's going to save humanity. And it's like, that's just not true.
But what happens underneath all that rhetoric is that working class people are increasingly disfranchised in the vote.
Absolutely.
And as they do all their fake narrative stuff, the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer. And that's the constant that they won't look at.
And they don't talk about it. They don't care about it. I understand, say you like Obamacare. I get why you like it. I get why you wouldn't like it. But what I don't understand is how they don't understand why people don't like it. So they'll say, I know my mom, my stepfather, they got screwed by Obamacare. Their prices went up, their doctors went down, the quality went down, everything. That was a driving factor in why they wanted to vote for Trump. They've
Right.
never voted Republican in their life, but they're like, Obamacare screwed my life up. It screwed millions of people's lives up. Yeah, it might have helped millions of people too, but that's what really bothers me about the media and the left nowadays is they don't even consider that. This is my opinion. There's no way you could see otherwise. I mean,
And if you do see otherwise, you're a racist or a sexist or a cisgendered homophobe. They got all their names. But I mean, it's like when I grew up, it was like this: sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But now it's like sticks and stones may break my bones, but names, you're going to be wiped off of the map of the face of the culture if you called a name.
No, it's true. Recently, they had Scarlett Johansson was going to play a transgender role, and 5 years ago that would have been revolutionary. Oh my gosh, she's great. And now she actually had to quit because the mob came after her. So she was like, "Oh no, I'm not going to do this." Because now the LGBT and feminists are saying, "Well, you can't play a transgender because you're not transgender. You're taking roles away from transgender." So it's like, wait, what? 2 weeks ago you're saying women aren't getting paid enough in film and you want more roles for women. Now you're like the mob, making a woman quit her job because you don't think she should play a role of someone she isn't. It's straight insanity. It's like, at what point do actions matter more than words? And at what point do we realize, like, hey, maybe our life is so good that we're complaining about something that's like a total non-factor on a global scale? Like, I think we're the most blessed country ever to be able to even act like if you live in Syria, this is not even an option. My friend in Syria laughs at all that SJW. He thinks it's the funniest thing. He's like, the house next to me just got exploded, and you guys are talking about movie roles for transgenders. Like, it's embarrassing.
Well, that's all orchestrated too. That's all orchestrated. And, I mean, you really have to go down the rabbit hole with that one. And it's a deep, dark, ugly rabbit hole, which we'll save for another time. But
what do you think about comedy? I wanted to talk about, because as a comedy fan, what you said, and just in general, what a lot of people say, I defended Michelle Wolf when conservatives were going at her. I said, it's funny. Like, some things maybe not funny, some things, but she made fun of Rachel Maddow. She made fun of Democrats. She's a comedian. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. I defended her. Conservatives got mad, and most of the time liberals are mad at everything. You can't talk about being, oh my God, a fat joke doesn't work, a black joke, a white joke. It's like everyone's getting mad at everything. At what point do comedians, such as yourself and other people, I see, Chappelle talk about it sometimes, you see Seinfeld talk about it sometimes. At what point does the comedy, I guess community, you can call it that, stand up and say, okay, you're not going to take away comedy? As a comedy fan, I say, leave comedy alone. That's the last bastion of, like, free speech.
Right. Well, let's just talk about all the comics who rush to call me a racist when they don't understand my tweet either, because they virtue signaled.
It's easy to be, oh, I'm not racist, they're racist, and then, oh wow, like,
it's like, okay,
you pointed out a bad tweet. You must be the Michelangelo of the 21st century. You found a tweet that was, not politically correct and pointed the finger at it, and now you're, a hero.
Right, right. But I just go, bitch, you're next, and I'm gonna laugh when your shit. And then, it's like, look at the shit you've said, and if you dig through the ones with the loudest mouths and dig through their shit, you're going to find an ugly fucking hornet's nest there buzzing around. They don't even get it. I don't even want to waste my time on them. But I'm like, yeah, well, you just helped kill comedy. And I said that way back when Obama first signed the NDAA. I said, he just killed comedy. Pretty soon I said, they're going to come for a comic and destroy him. And duh, it was me.
And I see it, obviously that was a big one, and, the race thing always gets a bigger result, but also they
always use race to obscure class. I have to say that. They never have a discussion about class. And they say race, it's a knee-jerk thing, because they don't want any discussion about class. And how working class black people have so much in common with working class white people and working class Asians and working class brown people and working class everybody. That's where the power is. It's in the working class, and they don't want us to know that.
And also,
they want to divide and conquer.
Absolutely. When they say black, what really cracks me up, if it wasn't so, if it didn't hit home so much, is they say, okay, black, everybody is the same. A refugee from Somalia or Libya is the same
There's
as
only one kind of black
There's
person.
only one kind
That's
of black.
what they
But
say.
you go to Libya, there's black people enslaving other black people. There's religious extremists. There's not so religious extremists. There's Christians. I get messages from Nigerian Christians all the time saying, An0maly, can you help me? Like, my people are getting genocided now. And the media says, yeah, they're getting killed. And it's like they're black Christians getting killed by black Muslims. And it's, you know, in that country. So they paint this broad scale. Same with like, oh my God, you know, with the illegal immigrant situation, oh my God, you're so racist against Mexicans. It's like, do you even have Mexican friends or Argentinian friends or Guatemalan friends? You might realize that there's racism in the Spanish world between Mexican and Argentina, and even within white and black. There's more racism probably in the Spanish world than in America. So it's like the way they paint with a broad brush and, you know, use these like grandiose statements to just cover up actual solutions. It's easy to
bingo. It's
virtue
about
signal.
Anybody who's got a solution is the enemy of a fascist. Period.
Yeah. It's interesting times, but definitely with comedy, I would love to see more comedians because I think people are scared. I know people are scared. At what point do you just be like, you know what? Let's focus on solutions and not so much on words. That was never a thing.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
I wanted to bring up because I watch Alex Jones sometimes and I see, you know, the media crucify him as well. And I saw him, he was talking about you and he said, you know, he loved you, first of all, when your show was going on, as did a lot of people. But then when it came off, you apologized to George Soros on Twitter. And Alex says, oh, I know Roseanne was controlled opposition the whole time. You know, she was put there to sabotage the show and apologize to George Soros. Do you have an answer to that?
Well, they say the same stuff about Alex Jones.
No, someone tweeted, actually, I mentioned Alex, and they said, did you know Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, CIA operative?
Yeah.
Like,
I've seen that.
And I said, do you really think, you know, without being mean, do you think he's Bill Hicks? Like, I don't think so. But do you think that? Like, that would be quite the magician trick to pull off.
Bill Hicks was one of the greatest comics that ever lived, and because he went to the very core. He kicked politics out of the way to go to the very core of human behavior and the human soul. And Alex doesn't do that. But anyway, but I like a lot of things Alex says. But the George Soros thing was, when it came down on me, it came down hard. And, you know, I had to question everything. I had to question myself because I have self-reflection, unlike a lot of people, because that's the hardest thing in the world to do. And George Soros, his lawyer, contacted my lawyer and said they were going to sue me for all the money I have left because he was very offended that I said he willingly aided the Nazis. And he said, I was a 14-year-old slave, and you don't blame the victim. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I think that's right. You don't blame enslaved 14-year-old Jewish kids for being Nazis. And so I said, I thought about it, and I thought, well, I should apologize for that because you don't blame victims. And he, at that time, was a victim, and I apologize for that specifically. I don't apologize for what I said for what he's done afterward.